Hi, it's Dave T here, and this video is part of a series looking at powering technology when you do not have access to mains electricity. As you may know from watching some of my other videos, I make films of campsites we visit, and often these do not have mains power. So hopefully this series will be of use to both more adventurous creators as well as campers and caravanners. Specifically today, I'll be unboxing and giving a comprehensive specifications of the AllPower's 372Wh portable solar generator, as well as giving an explanation of my thought process on why I chose the 372Wh AllPowers unit from the perspective of someone that already has a caravan with a 100-watt solar panel. So I ordered the AllPowers unit from Amazon on a Friday and it arrived the following Tuesday. This is useful to know because whilst they do clearly state that it ships in a couple of days from the UK office, Amazon initially gave a delivery time of several weeks, giving the impression it was coming from further afield. So don't be put off by that, as my unit definitely arrived from somewhere in the UK. The unit comes in a basic but functional package that should provide ample protection for shipping. Inside is the generator itself, an instruction booklet, a mains power adapter and cord for charging, and a standard USB to micro USB cable. The lower part of the unit has a sturdy plastic base and then what certainly feels like a metal sleeve around the battery compartment, and then the upper portion is made of plastic. All of the injection plastic moulded parts look and feel well made and robust. There is a fold out handle along the top of the unit made of the same tough plastic with metal hinge axles. There is an orange rubber insert on the underside of the handle which serves to provide some extra grip and comfort when carrying and doubles up to act as a catch to keep the handle in place when folded. The left side panel has two input sockets, one for the 20 volt 5.5mm socket from the mains adapter and an Anderson connector for connecting a solar panel. Alongside these is a standard car cigarette 12 volt lighter socket. The right side panel has two orange inset panels, the larger of which houses 3 standard USB ports as well as a 4th USB-C port. The supplied manual describes all of the USB ports as outputs, which they are, but further reading of the manual confirms that USB-C port is actually also a PD port and therefore can be used as both an input and output. I'll discuss this more when we get to the charging options. The smaller orange inset panel has two 12 volt 5.5 by 2.1mm sockets. It would be good if these were labelled with voltage, but that's a minor point. On the top of the unit, an engraved design indicates that it is a wireless charging point. There are no connections on the back, but it is worth noting that there are also no vents, which means that if you want to stand the unit up against the wall, then you will not be blocking any air ventilation. All buttons are located on the front panel of the unit. At both the far left and far right ends, there is a long orange button which can be pressed to activate the LED light beside each switch. Now I'm not sure how much use these would actually be, but I guess it's a convenient addition. It's also worth noting that the lights work independently of the other switches, so pressing the light switch at any time will turn on the lights. There are then 3 square buttons to the left of centre of the device. The first of these controls the wireless charging and Bluetooth functions. A short press of this button will turn on the wireless charge plate, at which point the screen will light up and display the battery capacity as a percentage. Simply place a wireless charging capable device on top of the unit and the screen will change to display on the right the number of watts per hour that are being consumed, and on the left the number of hours and minutes that the generator can output this amount of power for. You can also press the wireless button for longer, about 4 seconds, to activate the Bluetooth functions, which is only required for the mobile app, and I'll cover that in another video. Alternatively, if you just press the button again, you can turn the quick charging off. The next button is marked DC for direct current and basically is the master switch for the USB output ports. Interestingly, the 12 volt cigarette lighter socket is always on regardless of the front buttons. More confusingly though, and probably not a major problem, is that on my unit at least, the two 5.5mm 12 volt ports can only be turned on using the app, though the manual says that they are always on. Pressing the DC button will turn on the screen and the USB icon will be displayed on the bottom row. If you don't have any devices plugged into any of the USB ports, then the unit will turn off automatically after 30 seconds. If you do have a USB device plugged in, then the display will show the watts being used on the right and the time this can be delivered for on the left. Finally, we come to the AC button, which controls the built-in inverter to provide 220 volt AC current via the two standard AC outlets at the top of the front panel. A short press of the AC button will briefly display the capacity of the unit but not turn on the AC outlets. This is deliberate for two reasons. Firstly, for safety, to avoid a potentially dangerous 220 volt supply being inadvertently turned on. The second reason becomes obvious when you do turn the AC on with a longer 4-second press. You will hear the inverter cooling fans turn on, but should also notice that the watts being used on the right hand side of the panel goes immediately to about 7 watts. The inverter converts the unit's low voltage DC current to high voltage AC current, and this process by itself consumes power. So simply by powering any 220 volt device will immediately consume 7 watts per hour in addition to whatever the device itself requires. The next thing to look at are the charging methods available for the unit, and it is worth noting here my thought process when buying the unit, considering the main use will be when staying in a caravan which already has a 12 volt battery charged by a 100 watt solar panel. The first reason is starting capacity at the beginning of a trip. A lot of the trips that we do are less than a week, so at the start of the trip the caravan battery will already be charged, as will the various devices I need such as phones, cameras, laptop, etc. The AllPower generator can be easily kept at home and charged prior to travelling, so on top of the main 100 amp hour leisure battery in the caravan, which will deliver about 600 watts of power, the AllPower unit's 334 usable watt hours means I'm already starting off with an additional 50% of reserve power. The second reason is that the AllPower's versatility in terms of charging. If the weather is consistently poor, then it is difficult to charge the main caravan battery without either taking it out or leaving the car running whilst connected to the van for several hours. With this unit, however, I can, for example, charge the unit in the car whilst making a day trip somewhere. In this way, the unit can be given a boost of several hours charging just by taking it with me on a car journey I would be making anyway. The unit also incorporates a built-in solar panel controller, which means that it is possible to plug a solar panel directly into the unit. So there is an option that I could at some point purchase an additional solar panel to keep the AllPower's unit topped up without sacrificing power from the van's main system. Which brings me to the third point, which is that the AllPower unit is isolated from the caravan's main domestic system. This guarantees that if, for example, I decide to recharge all my camera gear and spend an entire day, or worse still on solar power an entire evening editing, then I will only deplete the AllPower's unit and not risk leaving the caravan with no power for lights and water and heating pumps, etc. Charging the unit is simple to do with the supplied mains adapter by simply plugging the charging lead into the 12 volt input port, at which point the screen will display the time remaining in hours and minutes, the percentage charge, as well as the input watts on the left to show how quickly the unit is charging. A quick point here that I could never get my unit to display more than 99% on the amount charged. However, the time remaining till fully charged does reach 0 minutes, so I would suggest just using this as the guide for when it's fully charged. It's also worth mentioning that you can charge the unit via the USB-C PD port. I'll cover this in another video, but suffice it to say that USB-C can deliver 60 watts of charge power. The fact that the AllPower's unit has a built-in 60 watt USB PD for charging laptops and an inverter for mains power if required, and all of this can be used away from the caravan, make the AllPower a pretty safe investment. The LCD screen showing capacity and runtime is a really useful thing to have when you are relying on limited power sources. In addition to this, the display of the output watts is a really useful tool for measuring how much power your various devices are consuming. So that's an initial overview of the AllPower unit, and as I mentioned, this will be part of a series of videos related to not just to the AllPower's unit, but also general off-grid power for motorhomes and caravans. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have, then please hit that like button, and if you're interested in seeing some of my other videos, then please consider subscribing to my channel and clicking the bell icon to be notified of videos as I post them. But most of all, thanks for watching.